was having these opportunities come my way, and I was initially saying no because the question I would ask myself was, how am I going to do it? I didn't even know how to bake. So I was like, you should move here.
You just
start
like
the company.
alcohol.
I was just like, teach me how to help you. I really am grateful that I did it in this risk mitigated way because I kept my day job to fund it, right? You know, like starting a business in the beginning, especially, like
So hard.
it needs cash.
Welcome back to the BILF Pod, where authenticity trumps authority. If you haven't already, or you don't know, my name is Mara Dorn, and I am the host of the BILF Pod. So please take a moment to like, subscribe, tell a friend. You know what to do. But today's guest, she is absolutely no stranger to hard work. She really is a BILF, like a true BILF. She has a degree in law, went to the University of Miami, runs 4 successful businesses. I mean, today I am so excited because first of all, I have another baddie sitting next to me. So I'm always excited when I have like a really extremely successful woman. So welcome to the show, Miss Lisa Sutton Gunderson. Happy to have you here. I'm on location here in Las Vegas. So welcome to BILF.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Vegas.
Yes. Oh my God. It's so cold here. I don't know what's going on. It's not like sunny Florida.
I know, it is chilly, but it'll warm up soon, probably like February.
Oh, February. Okay, so I'm not going to come back till February. Well, you know, I was talking to you before, like we were talking previous, and our backgrounds are very parallel. Mm-hmm. So, except you actually pursued a law degree. So you have a law degree, you practice law, but what I'm really interested in is how does one who has a very successful law career going on, I know you're practicing here during the 2010, which was great, and then you go and you own, now I just want to talk about your businesses. You had Sin City Cupcakes, so liquor-infused cupcakes, which sounds amazing. Like who doesn't want a liquor-infused, who does not want one of those? Ship Las Vegas, as well as Liquid and Lace, which sounds like really cool. I love that. And then Elite Homes. And then we'll talk about your general partner of the Veteran Fund, which I'm really excited to talk about and know more about. So let's start first from the beginning. So lawyer, okay, you come here to Vegas, you're practicing, and then how does one say, all right, I'm not doing this, I'm going to just become an entrepreneur?
It was complete happenstance. So I was working my big girl job at the firm and was catching up with a girlfriend of mine, Danielle, who's actually from Miami. And we were just chatting. Hey girl, what have you been up to? And she told me she had been making these alcohol cupcakes. And I'm like, that's genius. And also, by the way, like that would crush in Vegas. Yeah. You should move to Vegas. So I was just so excited about it. And I was like, you should move to Vegas. I just bought my house in Summerlin. Like, move in with me. Like, you should just come here and I'll help you start the company. And these are the things you do in your 20s, right? And so she moves across the country from Miami to Vegas. And that was in end of 2011. So we started the company in 2012.
But did you have business, like real experience prior? Or this was like, hey, because here's one thing that I find, especially with women, is that a lot of women get ready, but they don't execute.
Yes.
So it takes a lot to finally just say, all right, because you kind of transitioned out of your traditional like 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. So how did, with no business experience, no entrepreneurial skills, how did you just even have that confidence to even do that?
Well, I didn't do it cold turkey, right? So there wasn't this like, oh, I hate my job and I want to stick it to the man and I need to start my own endeavor. What is it going to be?
Yeah.
I liked my job. It was fine. I felt good about the work I did and I liked the people I worked with. What I loved about the alcohol cupcakes was that I just knew in my bones it was just such a great idea. Yeah. I loved it. I didn't even know how to bake. So I was like, you should move here.
You just
start
like
the
company.
Alcohol. I was just like, teach me how to help you. Here's what we'll do. I keep my day job. I'm going to fund this thing. You work it during the day when I'm at the law firm working my day job. And then nights and weekends, I was baking with her. I was running deliveries. I was setting up events. Like it was crazy. I ended up working 7 days a week, right? But it was so much fun. And ironically, weirdly, it actually kept me engaged on both things, even though I had two very kind of, time constrained things. It just made it so fun because they were so different.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone was so supportive of it.
That's so crazy. So no baking skills, no entrepreneurial skills. It's just something you had to believe, and you believed in yourself. Obviously, you believed in the notion of it. You believed in everything behind it. And here you had this successful, I mean, how successful did it become?
So we had that company for 11 years, which is
11
crazy
years?
to think about. Yeah, because I don't feel like I've aged at all.
No,
right?
you definitely have not. You look so young.
We had that company for 11 years, and then we were able to exit it to a national bakery brand. And, especially when you start your first endeavor, unless you're some, tech stars or whatever, like we didn't start it with this goal in mind of like, we're going to build it and sell it.
Yeah.
It was this just fun, like we were pumped. We were having so much fun doing it. We got to be part of like every event in Vegas, right? Derek Jeter's golf tournament, whatever it was, right? CES, just all the fun, cool things that come through Vegas. And of course they wanted alcohol cupcakes because it's on brand and so Vegas. And that company taught me, wow, I can have my own company as long as I team up with an operations partner.
Right.
And I really am grateful that I did it in this risk mitigated way because I kept my day job to fund it, right? Like starting a business in the beginning, especially like
so hard.
It needs cash, right? And that's going to come from your sales, but it takes time to ramp that up.
Yeah.
So where is that cash going to come from? It needs to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so that was our arrangement. Like,
I love that.
Let me keep it fueled,
I love what you're saying.
We'll keep growing.
It makes total sense. I mean, I think for a lot of, not just women, but people in general, they have an idea, they're afraid to execute, but I'm hearing you say a few things. You had a vision, right? You weren't completely sold on jumping fully in, but you were fully bought in, which I think is a difference. You have to be fully bought in. You weren't 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
You had the capital, and you do need, was it a lot of capital? I think people get scared because they think there's so much money involved when starting your own business.
No, we literally started baking in my home kitchen.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. And then, this is pre like the ability to get a cottage license from the health department and things like that. Of course, all that came years later when we didn't need it. But we, again, just looked for risk mitigated ways. So instead of going out and getting a commercial lease space on a standalone bakery, we went and did like a shared space kitchen. Just to find like low cost ways that weren't going to require a personal guarantee or some of these larger commitments, but would still get us, in compliance with the health department, get us in the space we need, but we could grow really organically.
Yeah. And then I hear the other thing you're saying is you had no fear of rolling up your sleeves and getting in there. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing that people don't want to do. They would rather delegate and not understand. But I would say you're definitely more business savvy than I ever am going to be. But I would say that the number one thing is understand every aspect of your business. But number two, you can't delegate everything out. You have to, maybe you're not, proficient in every aspect, but at least know almost every aspect of it. Have some common knowledge of your business. You just can't hire for everything. You have to have some knowledge.
Completely agree. And again, I didn't know how to bake when we started this bakery business, right? I learned through the process, of course, but it was one of those things where it set a really easy goal of, okay, we need to get to a point where we can hire pastry chefs and people who have degrees in this that are going to be far better at doing this than I am. But worst case scenario, if every single person down the line calls in sick,
you can do it.
I can do it, right?
Love
what I'm going to do, turn away business because I can't execute, like that's crazy.
I love that. You're like a girl of my own heart. It's so true. I say this too. If my team was taken tomorrow, my whole sales team, could I survive? Right. 100%. Right. I sold previous. That's how I even got into the space that I'm in now. And leadership is because I sold. Right. So, lesson learned is that you have to know every aspect of your business because it could fall tomorrow. Yeah. So you never know. I love that. So now, okay. So then you sell that. Now, did you start another business while in there? Is that when you went into, so you did?
Yeah. So while this is growing in tandem, it was like the scales fell from my eyes, right? And I was like, wait, I can have my own company as long as I team up with an operations partner. So I realized I was having these opportunities come my way. And I was initially saying no because the question I would ask myself was, well, like, how am I going to do it? And I needed to be asking, how are we going to do it?
Yes.
And I realized, okay, I can start saying yes to some of this stuff if I'm very clear about roles, responsibilities. What am I bringing to the table? Is it the money? Is it the legal background? Is it all the documentation and paperwork and startup stuff and save us 10 grand right off the bat? What is it that I'm bringing to the table? What are they bringing to the table? Yeah. And surprise, surprise, if we put that together, that turns into operations of the business.
Ooh, I mean, you're such a smart cookie. I can't, I'm taking notes mentally. So now you have this thriving business and then you start something else.
So we started Liquid and Lace. And so that's an online e-commerce brand, swimwear brand.
Where did that come from?
We were talking about New York before we started filming. When I was still in school, in college and in law school, I did a little bit of modeling, I did like print modeling with like swimwear and
Stop it, you're so pretty, stop.
I wish I was like 5'10". Not the case. I thought I'd be the, Victoria's Secret angel, not the case. And so I did a little bit of modeling during the time I was in school, and it was awesome because I got to travel and meet so many people. One of the colleagues that I met just during those years ended up having an e-commerce brand that he had out of the UK, and he was looking for US distribution. And so he just hit me up out of the blue on Facebook, actually. He was like, hey, how are you doing? Haven't talked to you in a while. Let's catch up.
Wow.
And he basically told me about what they'd been doing over there, and they were crushing it. And he was like, we want to break into the US market. We're trying to figure out like who and how and just the implementation. And I was like, maybe that's something I can help with, right? And we started that in 2014, and we sold that in 2021.
And this was an online business.
Yeah, so online e-commerce. And so it was just it turned into an international brand that we sold mostly through IG. We sold, of course, we had like a Shopify website, right? But we sold direct to consumer, and then we did. We were doing the swimwear fashion weeks all around, and we had an annual event that we would host here in Vegas too every summer. And
you're still doing the cupcakes at this point. So how are you managing, or how are you juggling your time between all of it? Because I'm assuming by this time the cupcakes are going. It's kind of moving and
growing. Cupcakes are going, yeah. The swimwear, I just looked at like, okay, can I fold this into what I'm already doing? And strangely, I could.
You could.
Yeah. So
especially in Vegas, right? It's easy. Yeah. Who doesn't like swimwear?
And we were doing cupcakes for like Encore Beach Club.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, oh, by the way, do you guys want to feature a swimwear line? Do you guys want to do some sort of special event? Like, how can we collaborate and work together? And I'm a former Miss Nevada. And so that was the segue of.
Oh, by the way, I love. By the way, just saying.
It was a long time ago, but it was amazing. That opened up this entire pool of, here's all these women. Young women and teens as well, because you had like the teen category, who already are a brand ambassador, right? They are already representing their public service platforms, the charities that they work with in their own communities, and they're representing the pageant. Why are we not utilizing them for this swimwear brand? And so what we did was we were the sponsor for the national pageant for like 4 years in a row. Like it was a nice collaboration where pretty much everywhere I went, it was like cupcakes, swimwear, like what?
I mean, it's so smart. It's absolutely genius. So basically, you're taking your brand and you're putting your business entrepreneurial hat on, and then you're taking all of your resources that you have. So like, I want people to really understand this, that I think a lot of times we also feel very like we don't have the resources, when in fact, if you write a list down, you will see how many resources and how resourceful you really are. Yeah. And that's kind of what you did. You took all of your resources, you collabed them, you put them together, and now you have 2 thriving businesses, which is genius.
Yes.
I'm about to steal your idea.
Well, and then we overlaid the real estate, right? So roll it back to 2013. Cupcakes are going. I was still working at the firm, and we had clients that were coming in with real estate needs because they were filing BK or whatever it was, and they had to offload the real estate. And we were just referring it out to these like kind of Yahoo agents. And I was just like, come on. I was like, how hard can this be? Right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I don't have the time and bandwidth to like be running around as a buy-sell agent, but clearly there's a pipeline of business here. So I teamed up with a full-time broker, right? And we started a team at Sotheby's that we had for 5.5 years before I started my own brokerage. And that was the proposition, right? Again, you look at like what you have with you. So I had no real estate experience. I bought my own house, but like I'd never like bought and sold on behalf of others. But I said, look, I've got a pipeline of business. We should team up.
Plus you're the lawyer on it, so you can look at all the contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
So smart.
So I was like, we should team up, right? And so that's what we did. And so, we had crazy stuff. We had like Phil Malouf's penthouse. We had like crazy listings that like, guess what? I had Kettle One vodka cupcakes at the open house, right? At the Broker's Open.
Now you have the sexy swimwear
yes,
there.
exactly.
I mean,
we're throwing a swimwear fashion show. Yeah, like in the open house. I mean, just crazy, right? But the point is like, you can collab and combine everything that you're doing in some way. And like, that's really the benchmark of like, how can you get involved in these different endeavors? And it's if they can like kind of patchwork together.
Yeah, you're making my wheelhouse spin right now. Like and I don't think we realize that a lot of the time, how I think a lot of people fall short of trying to understand how to utilize their resources and put it all together. Mm-hmm. And you just did it in such a creative way by bringing everything that you had to the table. I mean, look, you do have a one-up though. The law degree is like, come on. No.
And working in business litigation and business bankruptcy, right? Like, I think knowing bankruptcy is a powerful background, and just realizing, especially for businesses when they're filing, business BKs, it's a tool, right? Yeah. So it's like, really, you kind of reverse engineer. You're like, how did you get here, right? Like, you're a smart person, and yet you are in this position now. What happened? And you reverse engineer, and sometimes it's because 6 months into their business, they didn't do a good operating agreement with their partner. They didn't lay out roles and responsibilities. And then fast forward 10 years later, after they've made millions of dollars together, they can't get along, they can't communicate, and now they're suing each other.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the number one reason that you think that businesses fall to bankruptcy?
One, just mismanagement of cash, right? It's almost like an overspend problem. And so I equated it to like, if you're an overspender in your personal life, you will be an overspender in your business. Right? Because every opportunity is going to sound good. You're going to be like, oh, well, you should try that marketing person. We should try this. We should try that. And like, you're not clearly tracking what's working.
So you're saying KPIs, track your KPIs, your ROIs. I mean, really understand what's going in, what's going out, and what that looks like as far as revenue and return.
Yes, but start it with yourself on a personal level.
Yeah.
Right? If you are not capable or don't have the discipline to just do it for yourself on a personal level, you're not going to do it with the business. You're too busy.
Yeah. Or you can't duplicate it.
Yeah. You're not going to do it with the business. And all of a sudden you're going to be like sweating, like when payroll time comes or something like that, or when the rent's due. So like, that's the baseline, is just cash flow issues. Right. But then I would say right under that, it's, founder or business partner miscommunication. Disagreement. Exactly. And oftentimes it's like so simple. This is not because someone was stealing or, like these things that sometimes happen. Yeah, it's just straight up like, I assumed you were going to do X. You assumed I was going to do Y. We never talked about it. And now we're like mad at each other that you didn't do what I assumed you were going to do. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like it's
and then the business falls, it implodes.
And then the business suffers because you guys can't even, you guys meaning the partners, right? Can't even communicate about what you thought the other person was going to be doing. How are you going to communicate about anything else in the business?
That makes total sense. I think all your advice and everything that you're saying just puts everything into clear perspective for anyone that owns a business. And one other thing that you said, that you went into this. So a big thing that I always say, and I heard this from one of the gentlemen that I worked for, income is the outcome, not the objective. Mm-hmm. So when you go in there, you can't go in there thinking right away. Maybe you knew, but maybe you do know, but you have to go in there for another objective other than the income. You got to love what you do. And
there's infinite ways to make money. Yeah. Right? There's infinite ways to make money. So if you're not committed to something else other than just the revenue, you're never going to stick to anything. Yeah. Because you'll get this shiny object syndrome about like, oh, I should try to flip houses. I should try to do that. Like whatever's popping up on your Instagram is like the next way to make money. That's what you're going to gravitate to.
Yeah. And then finally, so now you have all of this going on. Yeah. Then when did you get into the whole veteran funding? Where did that come from? Like, how did you even like put that into it? Because that seems like totally left field from everything else. Like I understand the real estate, the cupcakes, and the swimwear. That all does make sense. It does. But then why did you go into that as like a service piece? Is that something that was like really near and dear to your heart? I know your dad was a vet, so your husband.
Yes.
So how did that all come into play?
So I had been angel investing for about 7 years. And now this is 2021. I'd been angel investing, for this period of time. And I knew I wanted to get into venture capital in a meaningful way. I just wasn't sure what that was going to look like. I had no desire to actually just start my own fund because I was like, I don't know what to do. And as a founder of my businesses, I had never raised outside capital or VC funding. I had just self-funded and bootstrapped and,
just
grinded it out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I know I want to get into venture, but I'm not sure what that looks like. So I started looking at different firms that I could LP into, that I could invest in. And there was a firm that I got into pretty deep due diligence with. I flew out to Park City and met with their general partners. And it was just one of those things where, it was like 8 GPs. They all were, former Goldman guys, and they all had the pedigree, right? Of like, check. And I remember asking them, I said, what else are we doing for these founders besides like writing checks? And no one had a good answer. And I was just like, And I remember flying back from Park City to Vegas, and I was just like, maybe that's venture. Like, because I don't know, right? I was like, maybe that's venture. Because their whole thing was like, yeah, like it's kind of like a 99-1 model where we're going to expect 99% of the portfolio to fail, and the one company is going to hit it big and return the fund. And you're just like, so you just let them fail, like I was trying to process it.
What happened to the 99%?
They're zero. They go to zero
Wow.
in the portfolio. So you're like, okay, maybe that's venture. Not even 2 weeks later, I get a call from a friend of mine, Justin Nahama, and he's a GP in the fund. And he's like, hey, I've got something that I want to run by you. I teamed up with 2 buddies of mine, Ryan and Mike. I want you to meet them. We put together a fund. I want to talk to you about it. Let's grab some time on the calendar. And so we do a Zoom meeting because the guys are in California. We do a Zoom meeting, and they pitch me on the veteran fund to join as an LP, as an investor. And I'm like, I love this. So their thesis is investing in veteran-led companies that are building technologies on the national security side. Like basically, you've got the bucket revenues of direct to consumer, and then you've got selling to the government, right? So if you can kind of corral all of that together, you've got multiple streams of revenue coming in to the company. And this totally made sense to me. They were like, we're going to back veteran founders because these guys and gals already have the mental grit that it takes.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
It was like light bulb, right? And I'm like, I'm in, take my money. I'm in, right? So I joined as an LP. 2 days later, I call Justin back and I'm like, what is it going to take for me to be a GP, a general partner? And he's like, it's not really how it works. He's like, wait, we can't just turn every LP into a GP.
Like, wait, what?
Yeah. And I'm like, hear me out. I was like, I really think I can.
And what's the difference between the LP and GP?
So the LP is a limited partner, and this is an investor into the fund. They invest their money, and they have the option to kind of either be totally passive, where it's like, here's my commitment, and keep me updated.
But you want to be fully involved.
Yeah. So the nice thing with being a general partner is that you do have to be on the actual management side. So you're actively participating in investment committee. You're actively participating in portfolio construction. You're actively participating in helping the founders that you're investing in. So it's not passive by any means. You are rewarded for that extra management work, right? By being on the general partner carry. And so I said, look, I was like, I think I can add a lot of value to this fund. I'm a founder myself, right? I've built 7- and 8-figure companies, so I know how hard it is. I know what it takes. So I'm willing to stand alongside the founders that we invest in and give them advice and mentor them, whatever I need to do. I know I can bring in other LPs. I have an incredible network. I have people who trust my judgment. So if I tell them I invested into this, there's a chance they're going to be open to investing, right? And I'm in it for the long haul. I'm willing to be on a multi-decade journey with you guys. So I will take less in fund 1, but then we'll talk about fund 2, fund 3, fund 4 as we continue to grow. And he was like, you're not going to let this go, are you? And I was like, no. Yeah, I was like, just let me fly out and meet the guys, let's all get together. And so I flew out to San Diego and met Mike and Ryan in person. We had obviously met over Zoom, but that was my first time meeting them in person. And we worked out a deal.
I love it.
So that was 4 years ago.
And it's something that you obviously are passionate about too.
I looked at it as like, this is something that, again, I could see myself being on a multi-decade journey, not only in this endeavor, but also alongside these people.
So do you think all of your other endeavors really kind of led you to where you're at today? Gave you all the experience, gave you all the knowledge. It allowed you to really put everything that you had brought to the table. This just kind of meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you feel like you kind of found home.
Effect, right? I mean, look at everything built in the last, 12, 15 years. right? And all the
I'm
lessons
still
you've
building, girl.
learned and like all the things, right? So it's like knowing that it's a constant work in progress, like there's no doubt that the decisions we make today are far better than the ones, they're more, you know, informed at the very least, right? So
did you have any failures in any of this? Like what you know, because we talk about all the success a lot of the time, but I would say that the most successful people have failed many times. So what about like, where do you feel like you failed in any of the ventures? Yeah.
So there's a venture. So we'll talk about the ventures that are no longer around, right?
See, we don't, and a lot of people don't talk about it. You only talk about what's in your trophy room, but in reality, there's so much on the back burner or so many things that have happened that I think are building blocks to success. I never think that they're like mistakes or, you know, they're failures, but really the building blocks. So tell me about some of them. Tell me.
There's a company, it was like Embellished Flats. You know, I'm not a flat shoe kind of girl, but I loved the designer. I loved the designs as well. And they were beautiful. They were like ballet flats. And it was all embellished, right? With the stones and pearls.
Like
and they were super girly. Yeah. And so I was like, if I were to wear flats, I'd wear these, right? It was, the shoes were beautiful. It was just the operator that we were going to put in place. She ended up having life stuff happen like 4 months in after we launched.
Oof.
Yeah. So
then you already know.
It made it hard. Yeah. It made it too hard. And we cobbled it together for like a year. And then it was just 3 partners. And so we all kind of looked at each other and we were like, are you going to run this? Because if you're not going to run that, like, you know, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that's no longer around. But it was lovely. I thought it.
So what did you learn? What was your takeaway from that?
One, of course, there has to be an operator, right? And oftentimes, look, I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and getting in there and doing it.
I agree. I just can't be the operator. I can't be the CEO because I just can't. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm more of like the visionary, the one that, you know, I'll bring the hype, I'll build the culture, but I'm not the one with I'm not good on processes or systems. That's just not me. Or like the accountability, it's not me. I can bring other things to the table, but that's not, I'm not the operator. Definitely not.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, like, this is not going to work out long term. So, you know, we need to cut our losses on that. There was a company, it was like light emitting plants. It was cool. And then they had the IP on it too, right? Cool. So it was like, they started, the first iteration was with a tobacco plant actually. And it's because tobacco plants apparently are the easiest to genetically modify.
Right.
And so they were taking like, you know, glow in the dark, like marine bacteria basically, and genetically modifying these plants. And then and they glowed. So it's like, so let's say it was here, they turn off all the lights. And so it was glowing, like emitting
sounds
light.
good. Okay,
and they were beautiful. And so it's just,
do you have to water them?
Yeah, it's like a normal.
Oh, it's
yeah,
more, I was like, I'll kill them. I'm not good with plants.
It's a normal plant, but like, yeah. So I was just like, this is so cool, and it was like a niche thing. There was like a Reddit on it.
There's a whole group of planters.
There's a whole girl. There's a whole like
gardeners. I know. There's a whole.
There's a horticulture.
Oh yeah. I know. There's a whole. They have conventions and everything.
Yes.
They have a whole culture themselves. Yes, I know.
That's why I was like, this has legs on it because there was like hype around it already, you know, like, and then the next iteration was petunias. And so it was like, this could have legs. Like, what if you could put this into trees? I mean, like, we had this like long vision on it. Again, it was like an operations issue. And we teamed up with an educational institution in New Orleans because the R&D was so expensive. It was like $600,000 for every iteration of a new plant. And I was just like, you guys, like,
yeah, we're not
you know, doing like this
two plants for over $1 million. We're not doing it.
Yeah. Like, how are we going to do this? So yeah, like, I think that could have been really cool, but it didn't work long term.
So what was the takeaway?
I mean, again, just, you know, one, expensive R&D, right? So unless you are venture backed, like I've learned this now, right? Like unless you need to, if you need to grow fast, and you have like expensive R&D like that,
right?
That's where venture funding is good because it's going to eat up your equity as a founder.
Yeah.
But you need that cash. Where else are you going to get $600,000 every time you need to iterate a new plant? This is crazy. You know?
Yeah. So that's not going to work. No way. You can't put your own capital on that, especially for 2 plants. You're over 1.2 million. It's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. This is not real life. You know, like you're just like.
So you also raise. So you obviously raise money too. So what if? Okay. So what advice would you give to somebody that has like a great idea? Yeah. They have capital, but they need a little bit more and they need to raise money. Where would one even begin to do that?
I would say so first off, open up your phone because your first anchor round are going to be the people who know you and believe in you.
Yeah.
hands down, right? That's literally why they call it the family and friends round, the anchor round, right? It's literally going to be people that you are calling and texting, telling them about what you're building, showing them your traction, and asking them for an investment. The next layer after that, you got to get things dialed in, right? Whether it's your pitch deck, your data room, like firms want to see that you are organized.
And you have your shit together.
We're not expecting profit. We get it. Like you are early stage, right? But show us some traction, right? If you've got an app that you're asking people to download for free and you're just giving away the free version right now, then tell me how many users you have, right? How many people do you have on the subscription list? How many, all these things. I don't care that you're not charging for it. I want to hear that you have, 200,000 downloads.
Yeah, and interest, people that are interested.
Exactly.
So that's important to know. I mean, you don't think that you can even, I would say as a small business owner, I've never gone and raised money, but I mean, it makes sense now. If you have a project or you have a venture that has potential, you've already onboarded people. It's always, would you say, a good idea if you know that if you believe, I don't think we ever know, but if you believe it's going to go somewhere and it's going to be a multi-million-dollar, venture, would you tell people to go and raise money?
I would say
if they don't have the capital.
If you need money to iterate fast, right? And that's why tech is so big on raising, because they need the money to iterate quickly, right? If you're starting a bakery, if you're, starting a real estate business, like I don't know necessarily that you certainly don't need to go get like venture-backed funds.
No,
right?
You roll your sleeves up.
Yeah, totally. And maybe you can do enough with just your family and friends round, right? So that way you're not giving away all your equity, because that's what you have to remember. All these firms are taking equity for their investment. Right. This is not a grant. This is not charity. It's not for free.
Right.
Right. They're going to take, equity in, and they're going to fight for the evaluation that is going to make sense for them, because they have to justify the investment to their investment committee.
Now, how long did it take you to exit on each company? You had how many were acquired?
I've had 2 exits.
That's crazy. That's something to be proud of. That says so much. And I just love it because you're just such a businesswoman, entrepreneur. I love it. So 2 exits, and you already said you built 7-8 figure income. So I'm not even going to ask you what you exited at, but I mean, I just want people to know that it is possible. And the idea, your idea is never a stupid idea. There's always a niche for something. But how long did it take you for each of those companies to exit?
One took 7 years, and that was a 2x exit. And then one took 11 years, and that was a 3x exit.
Wow. Incredible.
It takes time sometimes,
That isn't, and right, so tell me what you have going on now. You still have the real estate?
Yes. So we acquired the Engel & Vokers brand in 2022, and that's been awesome. We actually have like really strong women who work for us.
Oh,
I love that it's like a really supportive environment. They're all hustlers. They're all like just, like they're smart, they're capable. I actually love recruiting ladies who have some sort of like service background, right? Whether it's like high-end bottle service, whatever it is, because
we do too. That's what we like in our industry, because they'll hustle. That they're going to hustle.
Mm-hmm. They will hustle, right? If they were working Encore Beach Club this summer, they're going to be in wedges from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
They got the grind. You already know they're going to do it. They're going to
running around dealing with every drunk asshole with a credit card. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's why I like gym people, and I like gym people too, because of people that have competed before. That they have the grind. Yeah. I love people from the gym. I recruited a ton of agents right out of LA Fitness.
I love that.
Yeah, got banned, but yes, I mean it makes sense though. You hire for what's going to work in your business, and anyone that's competitive and a grinder, you're bringing them. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, love that. So the real estate's been going really well, and it's one of those things where, especially with our agents too, we always tell them, look, like, you will get rich helping other people buy and sell real estate. You will build wealth if you own real estate. So we push them hard on, like, if they don't already own their home already, some do, if they don't already own your home, right? Buy an investment property, buy an investment condo. Like, it doesn't need to be something fancy that you would live in. Yeah. Like, you can. So we have condo hotels here in Las Vegas, and actually I think in Orlando as well, as like an asset class. And I like them because, so we own 7 of them. I like these condo hotel units as an investment class because, so this is like Palms Place, MGM Signature, Trump, Vidara. These are units that are inside a building that operates like a hotel.
Right.
But the whole building is already zoned as short term. So you don't deal with like the Airbnb logistics headache of, you have to be 1,000 feet from someone, or you have
Right.
they keep changing their restrictions. The whole building is already zoned short term. So
It makes it a lot easier too.
and you net the most doing third party like Airbnb, or you can just enroll the unit into the building's hotel program and they rent it out like a normal hotel room.
Right.
And then they just cut you a check, or they ACH you.
I love that. Okay, real question on, okay, so I'm actually struggling this with myself, okay? So there's the Burr method, right? I know there's and then there's, see, I'm getting good over here. I'm really trying
You
to
got the
understand
lingo,
myself. So I got it over here. So I know there's really two methods, right? There's the Burr method. So for people that want to buy real estate, because I know you're really involved with the real estate, and then you can buy in cash. So what would you say for somebody that, they have money or whatever, they have money to invest, would you, what's your preference? The Burr method or the total cash?
So there's a few different factors. One, like if you were a high W-2 earner, right? Like had I stayed in my job at the law firm, right? Then I'd be, writing checks to the government for 37% of my income, right? Real estate is a great way to reduce your taxable income while obviously still building up this asset that will keep paying you and continue to pay you. It's also a personal risk tolerance. There are some people out there who just it gives them anxiety if they have payments on something or if they owe debt on something. So also something to consider. But ultimately, for example, like I said, even with the condotels, right? These are units that if the strip is busy, the Las Vegas strip is busy, your unit's filled. And it's whether we have F1 or Super Bowl
and
or
it's always busy. So it's a low risk. It's low risk.
Well, in the weekdays, you have conventions here. So there's always, the point is there's always opportunity for it to be filled, right? This is not like some rental in the Midwest that relies on
so you're constantly getting your money back, your ROI on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think those are kind of general factors to look for, but ultimately, if you can diversify out your assets, right? If you can have investments in real estate, if you can have investments in businesses, if you can have investments in your own businesses, there's a really nice, I think very relieving sense about it of knowing that you have different money coming in from different places.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to sweat it when it's real estate's seasonal, it's December, it's going to be quiet, whatever it is, right? You don't have to sweat it because my mailbox stores are in the middle of holiday shopping.
Oh, we forgot to even talk about that. So you also have mailbox stores there. Is there anything you don't miss, Nevada? Beautiful. Cupcakes, swimwear, is there anything you don't do? So we didn't even talk about that. So mailboxes as well.
Yeah. I love the business model. So it's mailbox rental, pack and ship stores. Think like a UPS store, but independent.
Okay.
And so you service UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service. I started those in 2018, and it's low maintenance, low overhead. I knew after starting a bakery, I was like, I don't want to have a perishable product again. I don't want to have something that's high staff, high equipment cost, right? You're talking convection ovens and walk-in fridges and walk-in freezers and right?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you're a huge fan, obviously, of passive income and multiple streams of income, which is really important for women because a lot of times we get caught up, we get married or whatever. And these are all you, right? I'm sure you have something with I don't know if you do with your husband, but this is all you prior to your husband because you just got married in 2024. Mm-hmm. So this just goes to show that not that anybody, obviously you have the brains and you've built an amazing portfolio for yourself, but it does show that you can be an individual woman and have individual assets on your own, which I do think is really important.
I think it's super important.
I do too.
Because actually, if you look at the data, women in our 20s, when we get out of school, right? If you compare us peer to peer to men in their 20s, same education level, maybe even same job, same sector, we actually outperform them when it comes to income level. Where it starts to drop off is because in our 30s, we get married, we have
want to
kids.
Get married.
Yes, we get married.
That's the problem with our business, why women don't last, because then they have this biological clock that takes,
and then we take our foot off the gas, right? Yes. And so that we either plateau or we start doing this. Meanwhile, dudes have been working this whole time, right? Yeah. So they're working, and that's why their income's going like this. Ours either, we were literally like this, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's okay for you to build and grind and then have it. right?
I agree 100%. And one thing that we didn't talk about, you also are a mom. So I don't want any of the viewers to think that, she's just out here by herself living up in Vegas. She's not. She's married. She's a wife. Yeah. But you were grinding. It doesn't matter. You were grinding. It doesn't, and now you're a wife and you're a mom and you're a business owner. So you can have all three things. I was actually on Threads today. I'm like trying to get into Threads, this whole thing. So I was like reading this thread from this, I guess, a mom that says, how do moms, go to the gym, get up at 5:30 a.m., cook breakfast, do this. I'm thinking to myself, this is my life. What do you mean, how do you do it? You just do it.
Yeah.
There's no excuses.
Which is why we're such great executors, right? That's why we're such great operators, because we're already doing it. We just do it,
Yeah, I 100% agree. And you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And it's the way that I was brought up. My father died when I was very young. And my mom, I'm also an only child. My mom raised me alone. And the one thing that she instilled in me is you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you have to prepare and make sure that you can financially be stable on your own no matter what happens.
Because you never know.
You don't know. You have no, and it's not about divorce. It's just
something could happen.
Life can happen. And, building your own thing. I mean, I think it's important to be married, but I also think it's very important to have individuality. So be Mara outside of my husband, Seth. And yes, we have things together, but I also like to have my own individuality and do my own thing and venture on my own thing. And I think it's really important as a woman that something that's not spoken about that should be spoken about is, yes, it is important. I do believe that to have a family and, get married. I do believe in gender roles at times, but I also believe that keeping your own individuality and your own, your own identity is very, very important for anybody.
Absolutely. It's your sense of purpose. It's your personal interest. It's these things that I feel like with women especially, we're used to self-sacrificing, right? We're used to falling on the sword and whether it's for family, whether it's for our teams, whatever it is, for our girlfriends,
for our children,
used to doing
using our own bodies,
Literally, right? We're used to doing it and maybe we're biologically predisposed to do it, right?
Yeah.
I get it. But to your point, if for some reason, it doesn't feel aligned with you or you feel unfulfilled or all these things, maybe it's because you aren't pouring enough into yourself.
Yeah. And I don't think that makes you selfish. I don't. And I think a lot of women would disagree with us, but I do believe that I have to have my tank full before I can fill anybody else's. And my purpose has to be far greater than who I am. And I don't, no shade to the at-home moms. That's their purpose. That's just not my purpose. And I don't feel guilty that I run a business and I have 3 kids and I travel. I don't feel guilty at all. Zero.
Yeah.
I am unapologetically a mom, a businesswoman, but I'm also unapologetically Mara. So, and I don't feel guilty about it.
And at least for me, it makes me feel like I show up better.
I agree.
I show up better for my husband.
And your kids are watching.
Better for my son. Yeah.
Your kids are watching. My daughter's about to go to school, right? I just told you she's going to Pace, right? And my daughter, and if you ask any of my kids, have you ever been upset that mom wasn't home? And all 3 of maybe the little one, because he guilts me. He's learned this guilt thing now. But my big ones will always tell you, no, they watch the grind. So my daughter is on her grind. She wants to go to school, for business. She knows business marketing with a focus on content creation. And she has watched it from the way beginning. And that's the persona I want her to see, is that I've never slowed down. I've had divorce, we've had downfalls, but in all of that, I've never forgotten who I am. And I didn't plummet. I kept going up. And that's important. I think that's
super important because they're looking to you as the example. Who else are they going to get the example from?
They're not going to. And with the society right now is hard. And it's hard. It is tough out there for kids, but they have to have a very stable example and somebody that is leading from the front. And that is you. So having this conversation with you is just, it is so refreshing to find somebody that really understands that, yes, being a mom is important. Yes, being a wife is important, but also being Lisa is just as important, if not more.
Totally. Yeah. It helps me show up better.
I agree.
For everyone else in my life.
Yes. I cannot imagine just being home. I couldn't do it. I don't think, first of all, I'd be a terrible at-home mom. So I do give a credit to all the at-home moms, but I do have to have something outside of that identifies me as me. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I hear you.
So today you are running, let's talk. So now today you have the real estate.
Yeah, the real estate
venture funding.
Yeah, the VC fund. So we did a $20 million fund 1. And then this past summer, we announced a $50 million fund 2. In fund 1, we have 25 investments and they're kind of all across the critical technology spaces. So in our portfolios, we have 3D printed drones, 3D printed satellites, cybersecurity, a lot of like very technical, fast moving, national security led types of businesses, which clearly that's not my personal background, right? Like I didn't build businesses in 3D printed satellites or anything like that. But I know what it takes to build an 8-figure business, right? And I know what it takes to hire right. I know what it takes to put in systems. And so it's just so much fun to get to be part of that journey with these founders, because these are elite founders. Like, so we invest in veteran-led companies, and it's not like you're run-of-the-mill guys and gals.
I love that it's veteran run.
Yeah,
because you hear so many terrible stories about how, veterans will come out and they're not supported.
Right.
But I mean, you are a specific company that you invest in veterans. I just love that you do that.
Well, and they're elite. I mean, we say we invest in elite founders, right? And if you we looked at 3,000 deals to invest in 25. And these founders, I mean, they're former Navy SEALs, they're former Green Berets, former Army Rangers. Like, these are people who are so elite at operating.
Again, people that are grinders. Like, if they're in the Green Beret, they are taking this to the next level. You already know.
Exactly. Like, they will work 8 days. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
they're getting it done.
Yes, they will work 8 days with no sleep. And there's no, I'm too tired, or like.
Oh no, they're getting up. They're showing up. They are. Yes.
Because the amazing thing too is like, look, after everything they've been through on like the technical side, right? Whatever they're building, it is not life and death. It is not life and death. So it actually is so smart for them on like a mental capacity side, because it helps minimize all the drama we have in business, right? Everyone has drama in your business. Things happen.
They probably are like,
fires pop up.
They're probably like, whatever.
Yeah. They're like, this is not even a big deal. They're like, this is a problem. They're like, next, like, they move on quick.
Structure.
They compartmentalize. They move on quick. They iterate quickly. And that's half the battle, right?
That is. Everybody's getting ready to get ready. But I'm sure they're executing like that. They're structured and they're timely. Everything is organized.
Oh, it's
already there. All the cliches, everything that you're looking, consistency, hard work, sacrifice, all the stuff that we talk about in business. This is what the ideal person is. Yeah. And it's always, they do really well. They do well in our business too. Because they come from a structured background. They already know that they're going to grind. Even for us, it's leads. So when the leads are, hard or shitty, they're never complaining about it. And typically they do very, very, a lot of the
complainers. I love that.
We have complainers all the time. I love the complainers. They complain constantly about everything. It's not the leads that suck, it's you. No, but yeah, they do very well in our business as well. Same thing. Because they're structured people and they are results driven.
Yes. So yeah, exactly. It's great.
Anyone that I know that's a vet has done very, very well. It's someone, they've just done really, really well in sales, because they're just not giving up. Even if they're like the shittiest salesperson, they're still getting it done. Trying. Yeah, they're still trying. Doesn't matter. They're still going. And eventually they get it done. So it works out in every way. So what is next for you? What's your next venture?
Well, I'm really excited, like I said, with the Fund 2 that we have launched, because it's the same investment thesis, but it's awesome because it'll allow us to really just support in a larger way. We'll be able to write bigger checks, basically. So in Fund 1, we were investing either $250,000 or $500,000 and saving some for follow-on as well. But with Fund 2, we'll be able to write $1 million into a company, right? And get that allocation and really like give them the shove, right? Of like, okay, let's go then, right? So we're really excited about that. So that's really kind of been the main thing that we've been focused on. Because like I said, we just announced it this summer. And so we were like in the middle of the raise and we started to look at companies now. And just this kind of new journey being a mom, right?
Yes. So, are you having more on, or like we're just staying at the only child thing?
I'm good with I'm an only child, right? So I'm good with one. But it's just been such an incredible journey to just have this small little human who is like developing right before your eyes.
I love my kids more than I would never change it.
It's incredible. It's so amazing. So it just, I feel like it just, I guess, adds more color to everything that I'm doing.
I would say it's a transition though, because I'm an only child. So it's very funny that I have 3 children and 2 of them are boys because I'm a girl, like I'm a girly girl.
Oh, so I just assumed I was going to have a girl.
That's I thought I'd have all girls. So I have one girl that's exactly like me, which is probably not the best thing. And then I have two boys. So like I'm also, I'm a boy mom. Yeah. And three kids.
Which is a difference. Yeah.
It's crazy. So not only do I have three kids, but two of them are boys, but I'm obsessed with my children. I mean, they are first and foremost in my world. I love them so much. So no matter what's going on, and they're a blessing. I love sitting down at the dinner table, especially during holidays, and just looking and be like, I made that. I made that. That's me.
Cute. I love that.
So it is fun. I would definitely tell you to have more. I wish I had more. I love my kids that much. They're so much fun.
Yeah. No.
So did I convince you more kids?
I mean, my husband he's totally down. He's down for more kids. I'm like, I don't know.
Your son's still little though. He's only 9 months. So just enjoy that. And then.
I know. I feel like he's like big. You know what I mean? Like,
wait till they're 18. Like he's already big. I know, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun being a mom. It is. And then you just add more to your brigade, and then it's just like a whole fleet of them. It's like a small, I just love everything about it. So awesome. If people want to find you, where would they find you?
On social, at Lisa Song Sutton. So it's still under my maiden name. I haven't changed my handles. I changed like my name, right, on the profile, but like I haven't changed my handles over. And I don't know. I think I'm just like, I don't want to like, maybe I'm like mourning the loss, right? Like I've spent my entire adult life like building this personal brand.
Listen, I agree. I did not want to even today, I'm like, I don't identify as a Dorn. That's my last name. Like I just want to be Mara, like not Mara Dorn. I just want to be Mara, you know? I spent a long time building me. So but no, I actually did go with the Dorn thing.
Like, I mean, my legal name, my driver's license, right? I've got Gunderson on it, but it's
enough. It's enough.
You know, I don't know.
I'm with it. I get it. Do you do I saw you do some classes too. Do you?
Yeah. So, the mailbox is actually, I have a program, that just came out of nowhere, like happenstance. Literally, I was getting people who were like cold emailing me or DMing me or calling my stores, asking how they could open up their own store in like San Diego or wherever they lived. Cause they saw me talking about the stores like on social media. And I was answering these like one-off emails, which was not sustainable, right? It was like inundating. And I was like, well, I don't want to like ignore these people. How am I going to do this? And so I ended up putting everything into like one platform. Like we took all our SOPs from the stores, like how we run day to day, threw them onto a platform. And then now it's like turned into a thing. So over 100 of my students have opened their own store all around the country.
I love that.
I know.
I love that for you.
In Puerto Rico too. We have a store in Puerto Rico. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
I love that. And you're helping people every day on top of that. So that's what I think that's really the true mission here is helping other people. And you've done that. It has been incredible. I can't you like my wheelhouse is just turning, just talking to you. I love talking to other women, especially ones that are entrepreneurial and they get it. So it has been such a pleasure. You are a breath of fresh air. You're beautiful, smart, a true BILF. You really are. The conversation is just, I can go on. I could sit here all day with you.
Yeah, I'm like cocktails. Oh yeah, we'd be here for another 2 hours.
Yes, we can go after and have a drink. Oh my God, it really, you are such a breath of fresh air. When I come here, I'm definitely going to hang out.
Please, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to.
Yeah. There's so much here. Like.
Yes, and then you'll have to show me like all the cool stuff,
maybe
not the strip
stuff.
Maybe not. No, I'll come more. I'll come more. Just hang out with you. Yes. Today's episode was so special, and for the women and men, but especially the women that are out there, I really hope that you see that Lisa is a true testimony that you can do and become anything that you want. So I have a challenge for you. I actually have a 21-day challenge, right? Because it says 21 days to change any habit, right?
Yes.
And a big part of my purpose is living with intention and purpose. You have to be structured in some kind of way. So I'm not completely organized, but I would say I'm pretty regimented. So for those of you that really want to challenge yourself by seeing my 21-day challenge. I will put everything in the notes below, so you'll be able to see that. I'll post it on my website, but go ahead and think outside of the box. And for those of you that have not done so already, please like, subscribe. Lisa, tell all of your friends. And if you like my conversation with Lisa, check out my conversation with Julia Hart and many other women that have been on the BILF Pod. Until next time, thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.